Hey there, greetings everybody. I want to welcome you here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're here with the second episode of Decades, or Decades 2 if you prefer. So we originally, Ben was giving me these and I was going to do them the way I did them last week. But I had misunderstood something he had said, and I actually like his idea. So I want to be true to that idea. So I'm going to do a second series, which will take over from Commonalities Compared, starting not this Sunday, but this following Sunday. And he'll give me 6 bands with the intent that he originally had. And then I will deal with that in the way that we had discussed. So what that was about was he was going to give me an album, and then 10 years later, give me another album by the same band. So I guess you would call it a spot or a moment in time or something like that. It's probably what the series will be called, something like a moment in time, where I talk about one album and then I talk about the other album and show the difference between the two albums over that 10-year period. I think that was his original intent. And so I think we'll do that series as a separate series. It will be 6 episodes, and I'm going to allow him to pick whatever 6 bands he wishes to pick. For me, we'll stick with Decades. We've already done the one in the style that I have done called with Styx last week. So we're going to continue with that same style this week with this band, Black Sabbath. So I'm going to start here and go to their Heaven and Hell album. But before we get to it, so that's what I'm going to do. This is only going to be 4 episodes, though I've decided to reduce it to 4. I have 3 other bands, this one and 2 other bands in mind to do it that I think will fit this series very well. And then we'll do that series. Then after this series is done and that series done, we're going to do a couple of other things back to normal. We'll have a couple of different things to do. And yeah, I just decided that once he told me once we had discussion about the first episode, I decided, you know what? I was just going to continue with what I was doing with the bands he gave me, but I decided I liked his idea as well as I like this idea. So I might as well do two series so we get 2 for 1. So anyways, we're going to go on with it right now. So the band we're going to be doing is, of course, Black Sabbath on Decades here. This is Decades 2. So this will be episode 2 of Decades 2. So the first album they put out was their debut album. Of course, we've seen this many times. It's quite famous looking cover, well-known album as well. Very doomy. Very gloomy, slow, melodic, heavy, kind of creepy in some ways, but doomy as well. A lot of good stuff on here. This is the band coming out of the chute. The production's okay. It's not fantastic, but it's okay. And there's a lot of the more famous stuff on here. The title track, Black Sabbath, their first track, aproposly named Black Sabbath. Of course, The Wizard and the Wasp are all well-known tracks as well. So, yeah, strong debut album. Heavy, doomy, and gloomy. Next album up has some more of that doom and gloom, but this one is a little bit more complex, a lot more instrumentally, a lot more exploring, however you want to say it. And the overall composition of the songs is better. The album cover itself, you've gone from the best to the worst. And just the way it goes, right? Sometimes that's the way it goes. But yeah, I've discussed this album at length before. Really solid album. The side 1 is among the best heavy metal, hard rock sides of any album, I believe, ever recorded. It's the production on this a little bit, probably about the same as the other one. This one's a little, it's that slower kind of melodic pace. But there are some songs in here that have a little bit more of a speed to them, like Paranoid and Jack the Ripper Stripper, or Fairies Wear Boots if you prefer. This is a great album, really expanding their horizons quite a bit in only 2 albums. Third album, Master of Reality, another really good album. This is a lot more, it's got a lot of that doom feeling that you've got from the first 2. This is a heavier album, more of a metal album, even more so than the first 2. Production is kind of heavy, a little bit murky. The songs are great, really heavy. You got a little bit of stoner rock going on here. You might even have got a little bit of speed metal with that After Forever. So yeah, so they're speeding up a little bit on some of the tracks, but a lot of that doom and gloom. So evolving even further. Next album up, Volume 4. 1972 this came out. So this one is a mishmash of a lot of stuff here. So they're kind of transforming a bit here. You've got some of that doom and gloom, some of the metal stuff like with Supernaut and Tomorrow's Dream, grindy stuff. Again, the production a little on the murky side, but not terribly so. But you do have a little bit more classical stuff here, like Laguna Sunrise. You did have a little bit of that on the past album as well, but not nearly as much as you get on here. You've got some changes, which is kind of almost like a ballad, but it's not. I don't think it's about. It's not a ballad-like song that way, but it's within that realm of sound. And yeah, just really solid album, moving further around, doing different stuff, not just doing the heavy metal stuff, but good. Next album goes even further away from that. So this album, yes, it has its real heavy parts. Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, Killing Yourself to Live, both really heavy, doomy songs. Probably the best 2 tracks on here. But you also have some progressive stuff going on here with National Acrobat, Sabbath, Sabracadabra, and Who Are You? A little bit more keyboard oriented, a little bit more progressive in nature. There's almost in Spiral Architects, almost a little bit of that folky stuff going on too, right? Yeah, so this has a lot of stuff going on here. It's, of course, the cover is very kind of doom death metal type cover, but lots of other stuff going on in this album. So they're kind of expanding out. Then they get to this album, Sabotage, Hole in the Sky, Symptom of the Universe. Some pretty heavy stuff on this album too, kind of returning a bit to that metal sound. One of their worst covers, though, of course. I don't like this cover. It's just strange. Even the back is a little bit different. But a good album, strong. For me, it's a weaker album than the first 5, but it's still a strong album. Lots of stuff. And they're trying to kind of returning a bit more to their heavier stuff, but not a bad album. Next album up, Technical Ecstasy. This is the 76 release. This is a lot poppier sounding. Some solid stuff here. This kind of is, to me, it's kind of a move towards what Ozzy sounds like, but not as heavy as what Ozzy sounds like. It's a bit of a weird album too, a bit of an outlier. You got a lot of that kind of. The album cover itself lends to that kind of a progressive kind of science fiction type of thing going on here. The music, of course, a little bit more poppy, not as heavy as some of the stuff before, but still well within the Sabbath sound. The next album I like quite a bit. I know it doesn't get, a lot of people don't like it, think it's the production isn't very good. This may be one of their worst albums production-wise. I can't disagree with that. The cover is kind of weak, but it's not terrible, but it's kind of weak. The songs on here are good, though, I thought. Heavier, but thinner sounding. Doesn't have that real punchy feel that used to, or slow melodic punchy feel that you got on the earlier albums. This one's more metal oriented, getting a little bit more towards that Aussie sound, but not as up tempo. Doesn't have that speed guitar sound that you get with Randy Rhoads on Ozzy's albums, but still pretty strong stuff here. There's a few songs of Swinging the Chain, which is a vocal, which I believe is vocaled by Bill Ward, which is a little bit different as well. But you've got some kind of odd sounds like you would get with Junior's Eyes, that little weird noises that he would make with the guitar. A little bit more progressive sound than you would expect from a band like this. But definitely a metal album. Just not as great sounding, but overall I do like almost all the tracks on the album pretty strongly. Then you move completely out of what they were doing before. This is a completely different band now. Black Sabbath's Heaven and Hell. You had a new vocalist here, a wholly new sound, much heavier, a lot faster sounding. The clarity on this album is much better than any of the stuff in the past. Martin Birch producing, so it's going to have that. So very good, solid production, a heavy kind of dark sound to it, but at the same time, faster pace. Songs like Neon Nights and Wishing Well, much faster pace. You do have some of that classic metal sound that you would get on some of the earlier stuff like Lonely Is the Word and Heaven and Hell itself, the title track, but a lot more heavy, prominent production from the bass and the drums as well. And the album cover is decent enough too, as well as this photo on the back, which is one of my favorite. So very different than the original album. If you didn't look at the cover and didn't know anything about the group, you would think it was two different bands. So that's my take for Decades today. The albums we did, the first 9 studio albums featuring Black Sabbath, the title one, Paranoid from their second album, Master of Reality, their third album, Volume 4, their fourth album, Sabbath Bloody Fat Sabbath, their fifth, Sabotage from Black Sabbath, their sixth one, their seventh one, Technical Ecstasy, their eighth one, Never Say Die, and they finish off with Heaven and Hell. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Please hit the like and subscribe, and ignore the door because somebody's knocking on it. Anyways, I hope to see you all for next week's episode of Decades 2. And please, if you have any comments you want to make, put them in the comment section below, and we will see you next week. Take care and have yourself a good evening. Goodbye.